Right, moving on. Consider accepting the following donations for the bandstand fund on behalf of the town. Gordon Clary family, $250, Miles Funeral Home, $250, Webster First, the bank, $250, American Alarm, $250, the man at $250, Michaelis Casey, $250, Honey Farms, $250, O'Connor's Restaurant, $250, and Neil P. Casey, $250.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, update on the reservoir motor lodge and consider request, I guess, from the motor lodge, from the reservoir motor lodge.
Mr. Chairman, I believe in the audience we have Doug George, owner of the property.
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, in your agenda packages, this was a late addition to the agenda added either yesterday or the day before. Upon notification by the town council, and in your agenda packages, I have given to you copies of the emails that we received from Christopher George, Attorney Christopher George, who I believe is Doug George's son, to make a petition to the Board of Selectmen. With Mr. George in the audience, I will turn the meeting over to Mr. George, who will give you folks an update as to what's going on at Reservoir Motor Lodge and to make his requests of the town of West Boylston. Thank you,
Mr. Chairman, could I just ask, was this in the agenda package you mailed out Friday? Or
No,
did you
this was
send
in
it?
the emails that I sent to you in the last 24 to 48 hours.
I had mine's in my email package, but I picked mine up late.
Okay.
Maybe that's why.
Okay, I'll look for the email in there.
Checked yesterday at 9:50.
Mr. George, go right ahead.
Okay. When we had Mr. Melvia evicted after months and months of legal battles and many court hearings, then we faced getting rid of 17 tenants who were, I don't know how to, dogs, weapons, drugs, all this mess, and who were protected by the courts because of the way the courts are. It took us months to get rid of them. The last person was finally evicted at the end of February. And then at that time, we had a meeting with the Board of Health, the fire chief, and the building inspector. And he gave us a list of what was necessary to fix up the property. And at that time, I mean, after 40 annual inspections, that property was, that the larger building was built in 1974, 75. It's been, it's been inspected by the building inspector every year. And we find out that there needs a sprinkler system. And other than the cleanup that we had to do. We had to do a major cleanup physically. We had to get rid of the non-transients, even though some of them were transient. There's a quirk in the law that some arms, some are defined as transients, even though they aren't transients, and it's dealing with the law is not fun, especially in well, anyhow. So we finally get rid of all of them. We had with this bad winter, we had at least 2 freeze-ups, in which case one of the persons, Stanley Gagan, I think that's his last name, found that we were able to shut off the water, clean up the mess. Then we had Marty Schofield, who was overseeing the property and helping get rid of all these tenants and getting the place cleaned up. He was diagnosed with kidney failure, so he's in the process of moving out. And then there's one other person that was doing debugging, getting rid of all the bugs. As it turns out, he was there with his 93-year-old mother. Did you send them a copy of this email, Leon?
I sent them a copy of the emails
Okay.
that your son forwarded to me.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. So that he's in the process of finding a place for his 93-year-old mother. So then, to find out we have a 48 hours to get these two helpers, there were actually three, out, seemed a little much. I mean, they were very instrumental in getting the place cleaned up. The police department was very happy with things quieting down. We had people trying to break in, we had drug deals going down, and our people shoot them out. I mean, if leave the place like that unattended with 17, I don't know whether I should call them bad actors or not there, but at least 17 tenants without any, if you want to call it on-site management. It was just, that wasn't necessary, I think. So now that we've got everybody out as of the end of last month, these people are in the process of moving out themselves, voluntarily. So that's where we stand, and we'd like to have this 48-hour notice amended to 30 days.
Yes, go ahead.
It's a couple things. Do we have the email that the fire chief sent us today, and the building inspector?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
We don't.
I think that should be read, the deficiency there. And my other question is, you have these people that's supposed to help you clean up, and they're living at the place that helps clean up, and no one's supposed to be living there? That doesn't make any sense.
Well, if we didn't have anybody living there, nights and weekends, these tenants would have free reign to do whatever they wanted, and we had to get them under control.
But you had no license to have anybody living in the property.
I'm sorry?
You had no license to have anybody living on the property.
And these 17 tenants were protected by the courts.
But you have new tenants and come in to clean the place and you let them live there?
They weren't new, they were existing. I'm sorry, the only new person was that Marty Schofield. He took over for Carrot Melavia.
Do we have that email?
I do.
I don't seem to have a copy.
I think you should.
Well, we just received it today.
All right.
It was late today.
Do you want it read?
I think we should read it.
All right, go right ahead. Yeah.
Mr. Chair.
Clarify who it's from again?
Sure, I have two emails that I will read at the request of Mr. Hadley. The first is from the building inspector, Christopher Lund. I was there this morning to post a notice of enforcement to go along with the citations issued. A couple new developments. Original list, we were told, of tenants, Mr. and Mrs. Ernst, room 132, they were supposedly evicted. Mr. Stanley Gogan, room 119, quote-unquote worker. Mr. Bill Turtelot, room 145, worker. Mr. and Mrs. Schofield, room 157, property managers. Please add Mr. Jim Griffin, room 126. Mr. Mike Haddad, although I think it's Doug Haddad, I might be wrong on that, room 125. I discovered these gentlemen living there this morning. Further, Mr. Turtelot has a dog living with him, unlike what we were told. Good dog, by the way. Based on the discoveries this morning, I am not convinced that Mr. Ernst is completely out and the story of his car just being there because it is in need of repair is true anymore. Leon, you mentioned having the police run plates to confirm names. The car depicted was closest to Mr. Griffin's room. Perhaps it's time to have them all run to confirm owners and that we don't have more than one unregistered vehicle there. Furthermore, the Fire Chief Tom Welsh, dear Leon and Chris, or hello Leon and Chris, I'm very concerned for the safety of the police and firefighters responding to this address. Accountability is also a concern. Where do we begin a search? The house portion is the most concerning. There was oxygen stored as well as gasoline, which is to be removed. The property was not secured, and the second floor exits are not adequate or illegal. These people are taking advantage of the town. I'll be happy to notify the Fire Marshal's Code Compliance Office for assistance, and please advise Chief Welsh. May I, Mr. Chairman?
Go right ahead.
Mr. George, your son provided us with an update, but it didn't have Mr. Griffin or Mr. Haddad listed. And you didn't refer to them this evening either.
No, I didn't. I was told that they were gone.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
Enough's enough. No, I want the fines to start whenever they're supposed to start.
The fines have started.
Okay,
Okay.
then I don't want, if the request is for an extension of 30 days to hold the fines,
Yeah,
is that what the request is?
yeah, it was 2 days they were supposed to be out, right? Is that what it is?
Mr. Gamone, is it, they're requesting 30 days to stop the fines for 30 days?
They're asking, and I don't want to speak for Mr. George, but in the emails that came to me, they were asking for a extension of time to allow people to move out and a suspension of the fines from the town of West Boylston for operating a hotel motel without a license.
And then, there's-
And what about the people living there, all these cleaning people and these, whatever they are? Are they still, they're still all there?
None of those people, in my opinion, should be living there. And
I-
it's been come to my attention
I
that
agree.
Mr. Haddad has been paying rent even until recently, and may still be living there. So he wasn't supposed to be collecting, no one was supposed to be collecting rent at this property, and really, no one should be living at this property. It was told to, I think that the board has been very clear as to what was expected of this property, all these many
You know,
years.
I mean, I have people work for me, but they don't live in,
You know, there's no
live
rest
in
being
rooms.
collected.
They
What?
go home every night, or they go somewhere, but they don't live in my restaurant. So how come when you have somebody work for you, they live there? I don't
Well,
understand.
there's been the drug deal problem, there's been.
I don't care about the drug deal. Why are they living there? The drug deal problem wouldn't be happening on your property if they didn't live on your property.
Oh, there've been outside people that have been coming in that have been, for the lack of a better word, shooed away. Because, you know, when it's closed down and dark, then, you know,
But if all the
anything could
doors
happen.
are all locked and everything's secure,
And it's empty.
Those doors can be kicked open very easily.
Can I just say that the town's been dealing with this for a long time,
Well,
and I don't
years.
understand why you would even think, because right now you're operating without a license, that why you would even think we would give you 30 days. And it's not like you didn't know this was going to happen. You've not followed what we've put out there. So I think it's, my personal opinion is, I would vote no, not to have any extension.
No, it's been months to get these people out, and like I said, the last one was just evicted end of last
You've
month.
taken people in. You've got 2 names on the list that you aren't even aware of. So obviously, somebody let them in. So you have not been going by the rules that we were given, that you, and to operate and not operate, because now you don't even have a license. And that was suspended a while ago. So I stand by not allowing an extension.
and you have the cleaning people that live there,
No, well,
right? Don't they live there? The bug guy, he's still living there, and Marty Keegan, who's, I forget what he does, he's living there, true? Those 2 people live there.
Marty's
They
living
live
there.
there every night. They sleep there, they live there.
yep.
So they're not supposed to be there. They don't get to live there because they're cleaning. My cleaning guy doesn't live in my restaurant, he goes home.
And I'm sure if they're living there, you're taking off money from what you're doing for work, for them staying there. So I think we just get rid of the whole problem.
Mr. Chairman, I would just say that we do nothing on the request. I don't think a vote's needed, Mr. Gamone. There's no,
If you don't make a motion, then nothing can be considered.
I don't think there's anything, if he's asking us to consider the request, I would ask that we just not consider the request.
I agree.
You don't wanna vote against the request?
I'd rather go on record.
Let's just vote so they know.
He knows right now what's supposed to be done. The fines are supposed to be paid.
And they're supposed to be out of there.
Well,
It's been supposed to be
follow,
out of there
yeah.
7
Everything.
years ago.
Yeah, I know.
Would it be better to be
Cost
on
us a
record with a
fortune.
vote, Leon? Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. All right, so the motion is, there is no motion, so we're not gonna do anything.
All right, thank you.
So keep paying and get the people out of there. Because it's time. Only been years, years. Okay, accept recommendation from the IAC on health insurance.
Mr. Chairman, the Insurance Advisory Committee has been meeting on the health insurance issues, and they are recommending that the town consider a increase of its copay on office visits from $20 to $25. and and ask the Board of Selectmen to accept that recommendation. We would then provide notice to our union groups that this is the course of action that the town is going to be taking with regards to the renewal of our health insurance, and I will build my budget accordingly with that recommendation. And just for your information, the Insurance Advisory Committee is made up of union and non-union employees and retirees of the town of West Boylston. So they're all affected by the recommendation.
Any question? Yes.
So the IAC recommendation is to go from $20 to $25?
On office visits, yep.
What's the savings to the town on that? Is there any
So right now, we were looking at around a 6% increase in health insurance. That would be about a 2% savings on that insurance increase, making it about a 4% increase in our health insurance.
what would
In
be,
a dollar figure?
I mean, just roughly, what's the dollar figure?
No, I'll give you a real good number in 30 seconds.
Okay.
I didn't have that number prepared, but I'll give it to you.
So that, you're gonna give us a number on the 2% less on the 6% increase. So a 4% increase.
Just give me 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I'll answer your question.
I guess I could just look at your budget presentation to get that number.
Well, that won't be exact.
It's coming up, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
It'll be about $60,000.
We'll save
Yes, sir.
by them taking a $5 increase.
So the 6% increase?
No, that's 60,000 to the town, I'm sorry. There's also some impact to the residents, because, the employees.
To the employees, yeah.
That would be our portion of that. And of course, some of our employees are at 70-30, some of our
Right.
employees are at 80-20 split. So I'm saying from the budgetary point of view, that is about $60,000.
So the 6% increase is about a $180,000 increase, and that's a third of it.
Well, I didn't budget for the entire increase in the operating budget. So if you're looking at my number.
No, I'm looking at just 6% is roughly 180,000, and we're bringing that down 60,000. Yeah.
Essentially, that's correct, yeah.
Yes.
And that is the only change.
That's the one that they've looked at a number of changes,
Right.
and that's the one that the employee groups and retiree groups felt would have the most bang for our buck and still make it affordable for all parties, including the employees.
And when was the last time we increased those dollars? Do we have a rough idea?
Within the last several years,
Okay.
last 4 or 5 years or so.
Okay, all right.
We've made number of changes in the last 10 years.
What I thought, okay.
So this is not something new, this is something that's done on a
That they're
regular
used to.
basis.
Okay, thank you.
You shouldn't have done
So,
it. Yes.
thinking, in the overall healthcare costs, I think $5 increase is pretty reasonable for the employees of the town.
Yeah, I think it's nice, yeah. Because they could hold firm and ask for nothing.
Yeah.
The unions and all that, so I think it's pretty good.
We have a very good working relationship with the IAC, and I thank them for their diligence.
Yeah.
They do a lot of work to make these recommendations to the Board of Selectmen.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion that we accept the recommendation.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, consider sewer agreement from Metro West Builders for Oakdale 40B project.
Mr. Chair.
Oh, you're gonna start, and then Mr. Hadley wants to speak. Go ahead.
Sure. Mr. Chairman, you have received in your agenda package, you have a memo from the law firm of Regnanti, Stereo, and Osborne, LLP. And they have provided to the town of West Boylston through the DPW director a draft settlement and release agreement concerning sewer connection fees for the village at Oakdale, 94 North Main Street. The document, in essence, is the executed settlement and release agreement concerning the sewer fees. It was prepared with the department and submitted to Iqbal Ali in June of 2014. They are making a recommended change from this, it says, in essence, the agreement will state payment of $372,948 privilege fee shall be made over a 25-year period at 0% interest pursuant to paragraph 8 of the amended decision on comprehensive permit application, general law, chapter 40B, sections 20 through 23 inclusive, dated October 3rd, 2008. Mr. Chairman, in this letter, Mr. Ali, through his attorney, makes the claim that he is attempting to proceed with the construction of a development located at 94 North Main Street. It's currently on hold due to the recession of a previously issued building permit. And one of the reasons for the rescinding of that building permit at that time was the need to address the issues relating to the sewer connection fees. In your agenda package, Mr. Chairman, you have the draft agreement. That draft agreement is being reviewed by Town Council. Mr. Chairman, to this minute, I do not have a recommendation or a document from Town Council recommending action to the sewer commissioners on this matter at this time, and therefore, Mr. Chairman, I would ask that you continue this matter until a future meeting of the Board of Selectmen, at which point Town Council will be present in order to explain the document and to give you their recommendation on this matter.
Also, I have one other, one of our citizens made me aware of this, and Mr. Gamon found us this. The Corporation of Division for Massachusetts says that Metro West Builders Corporation expired on 12/31/2014. So they're not even have a business, and they're asking us to okay a sewer permit. I don't see how we can even proceed until they show us they have a business.
And Mr. Chairman, I will be following up on that, interesting piece of information, and that will be addressed with not only the applicant, but also our town council as well. So I am not asking the Board of Selectmen to take any action on this item this evening.
All right, so no motion is no motion, nothing happened. Anybody else have any other comments?
I would think, with or without the information, I saw that email also, with or without the information, I think we need town council to look at this.
Yeah, oh, absolutely, yeah.
Well, I mean,
They are looking.
yeah, and I know that you said they are, but there's no way we can even consider it until town council
Looks
gives
at
their
it,
opinion.
yeah, goes, yeah. It's quite complex.
Yep.
All right, so we're not gonna do anything with that one either.
Right.
There's been a lot of non-stuff here tonight, it's good. All right. We're gonna have a town administrators
Drum roll, please.
budget presentation.
I think I might even go down and see if the Finance Committee would like to join us for the conversation. They're meeting downstairs in the other meeting room. If you would just give me about 30 seconds, I will.
While gone, we'll make up some announcements and invitations. All right, on Friday morning at 8 o'clock. At 8 o'clock, we have the MMA legislative breakfast. It's here at our new town hall. It's an honor to be able to hold one, and we're very pleased to be able to finally be able to do that, because we have a town hall that's presentable as compared to what we used to have. I know the Boy Scouts have a pancake breakfast. I think it's not till next month, April 11th or something like that. I could be wrong, but I know it's in April 11th, at the Masonic Temple. So you want a good breakfast, go there. They make their pancakes and sausage and beans, and so that's a nice, always a good fundraiser. They do a lot of things for the town. Does anybody else have anything that they want to announce?
Next Wednesday, we have a FISP meeting here for the Facilities Committee. And Chris, you want to talk about the parks facilities? Or
I don't think there's
Nothing.
nothing yet?
nothing to,
Okay.
there was a request for a joint meeting, but the Parks Facility Committee voted that they're just not ready to have a joint meeting with the Board of
Board of
Selectmen.
Selectmen.
And one of the ones that stood out to me is the Finance Committee, and I can just imagine they would ask us questions about finances,
Right.
and we don't have the
Not ready.
answers. And that's the worst
So,
time
but
to
you
have.
are working on the, on that
master
plan
plan.
from that money that was appropriated at
Correct.
town meeting, right?
Correct. I think a joint meeting with all the boards is very important, but
Right.
I know how we don't like being at a meeting without having at least the answers we think are gonna be
Right.
asked. So we've asked that to be put off for a little while.
Okay, do you have anything?
Nope, but I would like to thank the people that came out from the town for the shortest St. Patrick's Day parade. We had a nice turnout. It's a nice family event, kind of put together in 6 or 8 months by many volunteers, and I think it's just another nice reason for being in town. So thank you for all that helped with putting that together, as well as coming to watch.
That's very good. And I have to comment that two selectmen here did a marvelous job of marching. They kept, they
We were
were
exhausted,
right
by the
right
end
in,
of the parade.
they kept, what is it, step or whatever the heck they call it, anyway. They did a good job.
We were
They right
exhausted.
there. All right, are they coming?
No, they don't care. No.
All right, while we're doing,
don't
future agenda items, Mr. Hadley,
Nothing at this time.
Mrs. Bonson,
Not at this time.
Mr. Rucho.
I guess it's not a future agenda, and I'm just, I've been at a few different committees, Mr. Gamone, and they've all had the same question, including the Parks Facility. Are we gonna give them a filing cabinet? I know Mr. Hadley and I both said that that back room downstairs was gonna be that spot for people to keep files, because I know board members, Parks Commission,
I
Parks.
have a ton of file cabinets. I'm happy
Okay.
to give any to.
Well, I don't think they know that, because like the Parks Commission was saying, our stuff's not in the town anymore, so people are bringing things home that.
No, I have plenty of space. I'm happy to do that. No one ever asked me that
Space
question.
and thousands of file
I'm
cabinets.
happy. I have so many empty file cabinets. I'm
I think
ready.
that room, I think we kind of decided that room outside of the meeting room downstairs was gonna be for
The land
committees.
use room.
Yeah, that was
So-
gonna be the thought. when
So we
designed
could
it.
utilize that. That's not the biggest space in the world. I have gigantic amounts of space in the basement. I'm happy to accommodate.
Right, as long as they have access to those rooms at night when they
Yeah.
need things, and then, because I know people are bringing things home because they're not,
No, I have plenty of space and I have
Okay.
plenty of file cabinets. I'm happy to accommodate.
so.
Yes, all right. I have a,
Probably have the Parks Commission's filing cabinet still down there with all the stuff
Full
from
of
the,
stuff.
from the fifties.
yeah, probably. Nancy and I chair a session for all boards and committees in April.
We do.
And I will add that to my agenda to talk about that day.
Right.
That will be a
I
good
think that'll
time
be
to do it, because
helpful.
all the boards and committees are invited and present. So we'll add that to the agenda.
Great.
Good suggestion. I wasn't aware that people were looking for space and didn't know where to go.
Yep.
Nobody asked for it.
All right, that's good.
Happy to help.
All right, and, all right, I guess the last thing we have is adjournment of the meeting. Oh, no, we haven't adjourned.
You can adjourn the meeting. I'm happy to,
Are they, no, are they really coming?
no, I think,
They're not coming.
I gave
Oh, I
them
thought
this-
you were kidding around.
No, I gave them this document already. They're in the process of reviewing it and to doing their own business. I probably will have to give the speech that I'm giving to you folks, to them at a later date, so I get to do it twice.
They said, what budget?
All right, let it rip.
Mr. Chairman, in the past, I have, before this committee, I have given you my revenue budget. I'm not going to go through the revenue budget again. Right now, I suffice to say, I am using the governor's numbers as far as local aid goes. That included a decent increase over what we had originally planned as far as local aid. So right now, we're, pretty confident in at least what the governor's numbers look like. I mean, we still have a little bit of ways to go, as to what that final number will be. We probably won't even know what that final number will be by the time town meeting is concluded, as we typically may not. But right now, I'm using still the number $22,420,201 in revenues for the operating budget. And I'm going to go through with you folks here today the draft operational budget for fiscal 16. Mr. Chairman, let me start by saying that this has been a little bit more difficult year than typical. We've really struggled to try to make this operating budget work. I know the schools had a number of expense lines that have increased. The town has had a number of expense lines that have increased. And pulling this budget together has been an extraordinarily difficult venture this year, one of the more difficult ones that we've actually had. I will tell you that typically around this time, I work with the Board of Selectmen on devising what we might include as perhaps a cost of living adjustment for non-union employees. Right now, I have built into this operating budget that is a balanced budget, an